Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Exalted One and welcome back to Heroes University. In the last 3 episodes we've covered the basics of terminology, the user interface, the structures, map content, and in general what hero types are available for you to play as. And in today's episode we're going to bring all of these topics together. We're going to be talking about experience and abilities. Now experience, as I'm sure you can imagine, is how you're able to level and progress your hero throughout each battle, and it's an integral part of your success in the Nexus. Leveling up can provide a significant advantage for your team and pave the way to victory. So let's go ahead and break that down. Experience is gained in one of 3 different ways. First is going to be killing minions. So obviously we've seen in previous videos that minions spawn in either 2 or 3 lanes depending on the map. And someone needs to be in a general radius of that, which we'll cover again just here in a second for actually gaining experience in the leveling up process. But important to understand that at least. Now the second way is destroying enemy structures. And those, and again in the previous video, we're going to include with towers, forts, and keeps. Healing wells and the walls, or the barrier between both towers at the front of both keeps and forts, do not count for any experience for you. And the third way is going to be with killing enemy players. So each kill that you gain does give your team a significant portion of experience. Now, most important though is to make sure that you do gain experience whenever possible, in particular before level 10. But again, we'll touch that in just a moment. Now, I did very briefly mention that you need to be in a general range of minions when they do die to gain those experience. You don't have to, like many other MOBAs, hit the last shot on a minion or get a killing blow. But as you can see right above this one, right before it dies, that's 72 that just popped up there. Now wait for it again. So these are going to pop up over these minions' heads. That 72 was going to be that experience. So as long as we're in range, which you can see they still pop there, but if I walk out here, you see that they die and we don't actually gain anything. So those experience pops are going to be in a general area of when you're near. And they are quite generous. So obviously we're within a pretty wide attacking range here. But we gain the experience from that one that just died on that back end. And here, we can just kind of stand around, and as long as we're in a general area or a general range, we are going to gain that experience. And that's important again for a little bit later on when we cover soaking or the different lanes that are available. Now, going on to abilities, we have 3 typically for every hero that is going to be in the game that are known as basic abilities. For Raynor, that is going to be our penetrating round, which is a Q ability. And that goes around in an area itself. It's a straight line skill shot. Skill shot meaning that you need to aim an ability. It is not something that automatically activates or something that it does itself. It is something you need to aim and be able to aim and fire. So there, we're able to hit Arthas and move along our merry, merry way. Now, his W ability, Inspire, that is giving himself a buff, which is now in the PTR, which is where we're messing around right now, denoted by an emblem underneath his feet. And that little plus notes that that is available or off of cooldown. We're able to use that. Now, his other ability, so you have Q, W, and E. Raynor's is not an activated ability, which is why he is one of the easiest and best characters to pick up when you are new to the game, because you have less of activated traits. Now, his level 10, which is an ultimate ability. So, we are able to see that we are gaining experience. You can see right in the top here, that denotes where your team's experience is at. Now, if we are able to try and push these down, you see every minion that we kill hits a little bit more and a little bit more. And because we're the only lane and only one soaking experience, that is going to show a little bit faster for us. And as we're able to actually kill Arthas, you see that that gained quite a substantial boost to our experience. Each minion does count for a small amount, but hero kills do count for a substantial amount as well. And at level 1, we do gain a talent, and that is right when you get into the game, you start with that. And you can choose whichever you'd like. And these typically augment, and they give you an idea or area that it's going to affect, or what ability in particular that is going to impact. So this one here, it Give Me More, it activates or changes our E ability, which that right now is just healing when we drop low on health. Now that heals more. So you're able to very quickly see what abilities that particular talent is going to augment. And these talents are available for you at level 1, level 4, level 7, level 10 is your heroic ability, which we'll touch in just a second, 13, 16, and finally 20. Now, the difference between each level is pretty substantial. Your basic talents at level 1 and level 4, as well as level 7, do have an impact on the game and can be important later on. However, they're not typically as strong as other talent tiers that are available. And that tier is those level ranges, or that level cap exactly, that you gain a new talent or a change to one of your basic abilities. Now, 10 is typically a game-changing or very important ability for your hero. So that is why it's locked behind a certain time gate or experience level that you need to achieve. So for Raynor in particular, which we're in try mode, so we can go ahead and set our level to 10. We'll go ahead and choose whichever. It doesn't really matter here. Those are not good talents for Raynor, by the way. Though, for a new player, we'll touch those later. Now, he has Hyperion, which is one of his most standard ones. There's a very large area of effect, does damage to everything in its area. As you can see, it's massive, does damage to everything in that area. And, as the 94 is ticking down, has a substantially longer cooldown than your basic abilities, which are 12, 10, and 40 seconds, and that being very, very long for a basic cooldown. So 100 seconds for Hyperion cooldown denotes how important that is and how frequently that needs to be used. Not all that much. You don't want to be firing your ultimate ability off almost every chance you get, because when you need it, you're going to be without. Now, so we've covered our basic abilities, our normal talents, and our heroic talents as well. Now, 20, even though it is a basic ability in a regard, they are very, very powerful. The most substantial power spikes for a majority of heroes is going to come at level 16 and at level 20. That typically means very, very strong power surges. For Raynor in particular, we'll go ahead and set the level to 20 so we can get through all of these. And our basic ones that we go for here, just in damage, Hyperion, level 13, and for Raynor, that for the first time gives him a stun, so he's able to do more damage. Very, very strong talent. And as well, everything else in this category increases his damage potential drastically. So now you're able to see that we're able to move them away and be able to do a lot more. Those are a little bit later in something that we can handle in a particular video on a character. But good thing to denote is that the abilities that you gain at level 20, at level 16 are very, very important. 20, by the way, noted as your storm talents, or because the game is Hero of the Storm, it is something that is very, very strong or very impactful. As you can see here, it increases attack speed and range by 20%, which is unbelievably fast. So right now, our attack speed there, being able to move this forward, and we can go ahead and on the dummy, the attack speed is substantially faster. So it does move very, very quick and give you a huge boost to your overall damage. And this is just as Raynor. But every hero in the game has something at level 20 that is extremely impactful and makes their damage go through the roof typically for anyone that would be his damage. Now that we've gone over the basic abilities that you have, in addition to your heroic ability, and the talents that augment those, it is very important to go back a little bit to the experience and why that is so important. Now, laning or soaking is, in general, the term for gaining experience in every available lane, or what you want to do. So if you maybe play a game with someone a little bit more experienced and they say, hey guys, we need to soak. In general, what they're saying is that we need to be in every lane available to the map and make sure that we have a body or presence to be able to gain or to soak that experience. So that, in turn, levels up your team and gives everyone on your side an advantage. Now, the first team to gain heroic abilities has a significant advantage. Typically, these are timed near map objectives, so if your team has those game-changing heroic abilities and the enemy team does not, you're able to push them out with a force and make sure that you can gain that objective and move your advantage even further into the game. Now, the laning or soaking phase is typically going to be from level 1 to level 10. From there on out, it is still important to make sure that you are gaining the experience and gaining the talents above your enemy team, but 1 to 10 is the most important part. After that point, your team tends to group up a little bit more, and especially into the later parts of the game, you want to make sure that you're with your team and following the objective as much as possible. But that phase in general is making sure that you have a body in every lane, or someone available to be able to gain the experience when your enemy team is trying to do the same thing. And if you are able to gain a kill or a pick in between those lanes where you kill an enemy hero, you deny them that experience, or someone has to rotate to cover that, and you again gain an advantage elsewhere on the map. Now, just as a last note, we just want to do a quick review or general tips for experience and your abilities. Number 1, soak experience. Make sure that your team is in all lanes at every time possible, in particular before level 10. If an objective spawns a little bit earlier before that, that is also very important. You want to make sure that you follow that up. But you need to balance that with where your experience is in your level versus the enemy teams. Because if you start to lose that advantage, it can be difficult to come back. Number 2, be aware of the enemy team's level. If you're down a substantial talent tier like 16, 20, if you're not at your heroic abilities yet and your enemy team is, you're going to have a very, very difficult time winning that fight. Regardless if you are able to fight them outnumbered, it can still spell disaster for you if you go in without a heroic ability or without an important talent tier that gives a huge damage boost. Now, level 3, read all of your talents, all of your choices. Especially when you're starting the game, you want to make sure that you understand what you can gain out of each talent tier, because the difference can be very, very important. You can gain one talent that maybe helps you stay alive a little longer, or do a huge percentage of damage gain. And it depends primarily on where you're at in that game, how the enemy team is reacting to your presence in particular, and how your team is working together and what you need. And understanding what talents are available and what choices you can make definitely help you out, and your chances of victory significantly improve. And that's just being aware of what's available to you and aware of the surroundings. And again, that mirrors number 4. Stay aware of the map to help your team gain experience as quickly as possible. So, as number 1 said, make sure that you have someone in every lane. If you don't, make sure that you're the person to be there. Because if you can gain a little bit more knowledge, or to help your team progress, or to stay on track, you can make sure by yourself nearly that your team will move on to victory. And that is some of the most important things to understand, is to read everything available. Experience is above and beyond one of the most important things, especially in the early game, and that chasing kills can sometimes spell disaster for you. The experience that you gain from a kill does not outweigh having your presence in a lane. So if you're trying to push forward or to try and bully someone out, kills feel great, but winning is going to be the ultimate goal. And regardless of how many kills you get, if you lose the game, it feels fucking bad. So understanding where you're at and understanding your limitations and what your team needs you to do is very, very important. But thank you everybody for stopping by. My name again is Exalted One, and we will see you all next time for Heroes University, where we cover team comps and drafts. Or positioning and body blocking, depending on where I'm feeling at in response to this. But if there is anything in particular that has maybe been unclear or something you would like me to cover, definitely drop that in the comments below, and I will make sure in particular to either answer that by a comment or make an entire video dedicated to that particular topic. Because especially with everyone coming over from Overwatch to gain that Genji skin, we want to make sure that we give you guys the best understanding possible of this particular game, and to help you progress and to gain the things that you want out of this game, and hopefully have you stick around. Well, until then, we'll see you all next time.